Behind me is my new 40-foot container that I'm going to be building a model railroad in. From the start, I thought I had an idea of how it might go and what made sense, but when I really got into the details, I realized how important insulation is and the structure of it with the railroad ties around the foundation and a lot of other things I just didn't think of from the start. But I'm going to kind of go over a few things that are a lot more important than I realized, and also the rebranding of the channel and what you guys can look forward to in the future. So for starters, it's a 40-foot container that I found online and had delivered. It cost me about $4,500, which is a better price than most other stuff I saw. But from the start, I kind of had an idea how I thought it could go. From this end, I'm going to be building a 10-foot room to about where that black spot is. That's where my wall is. A 10-foot room for my workbench. The rest of it's going to be the actual layout itself. I thought I could get away with not insulating that. That's not even close to the case. I was in here building this wall last week and had a heater going. It was late at night. It was cold. Every wall was moist. It was condensing on every cold surface. And that's the way it's going to always be if I'm trying to heat the layout room. So I'm really realizing more and more either spray foam or an alternative is a necessity. I have to do something about it. My plan was to always spray foam the front room and keep it kind of separate from the layout room. There's just a lot more to it than I thought from the start, and kind of glad I'm catching it all now before it gets too late. For starters, I was gonna do a solid railroad tie perimeter. I just thought, oh, that'd be nice to set it on, and this is gonna settle eventually, but if it's a solid perimeter, shouldn't have any issues. When I set this here, it was snowing, so there's a lot of moisture underneath it right now. So I have to have gaps in between, and no matter what, the ground is gonna bring moisture up, and it's always gonna be damp underneath if it's sealed. So if anything, I might put a little mesh screen in front of these openings of these railroad ties, and nothing can go into there and die or something like that. But at least we'll be able to have it breathing and no rust underneath, at least not any more than we can avoid. Inside is definitely a mess. We moved our entire house into this basically, and then kind of have to go through it as we go. But originally I was planning on leaving this and painting it and welding some brackets on the walls to hang the layout on, which sounds fine if it's dry, but in the wintertime you're gonna have condensation. After I ran that little propane heater over there for maybe 2-3 hours one night, all the walls were damp and it was not ideal. The next morning it was dripping. It was raining in here. So if I'm having an operating session on the layout in here and I want to keep it warm if it's getting late, it's gonna do that every time. So I'm glad I kind of realized that now. This is my wall and my door to the workroom, which is gonna have a workbench on those two walls, and then on the outside we're gonna have a door to exit here. I was gonna do spray foam, so I'm gonna put studs on the walls, studs on the ceilings, and spray foam it all in. That's still the plan here, and then to insulate this wall against whatever backhand I put in. But now I'm looking at a little bit cheaper way of doing it rather than spray foam the whole thing would be foam board, which I have a bunch of actually. Don't even have to buy it. Kind of gluing it to the walls on the inside of the ribs. The worst thing will be this little pocket of air. And as long as it's not moving through the walls, we're fine. The ceiling, I'm going to spray foam just a thin, real quick, maybe a 1/2 inch Then I will put studs up, or actually studs in the ceiling with the spray foam, attach foam board to the ceiling underneath those studs. The walls will be the board up against it, studs on the outside, attach my wall to. And then that'll have good studs to attach the layout to, nothing will move, and we'll be good. But definitely things to think about with insulating something that's metal. It's a lot different than a house. The other thing I need to talk about is the channel rebranding. So in the past, my YouTube has been up and down and popular and not. I have 1,700 subscribers, and originally I was Shoal 4 train videos, which is just an odd little name I came up with probably when I was 10 years old when I started the YouTube. And did a lot with that when I was young, member of a train club and all sorts of different things. That was my life. But then I moved on to F&R HO scale equipment, which is farm and ranch related products that I was creating because I had gotten a 3D printer and really wanted to create things for myself, and may as well sell them if I have a 3D print file that I created. Just unique things that nobody else made and that are very common on places I've worked. Kind of wanted to make a business out of it and sell 3D printed stuff and whatever. I kind of lost focus on the F&R equipment when I moved to Colorado. I didn't have space or anything for trains anymore, no time, so kind of let that go and haven't uploaded in 5 years until now. Moving on from that, now we're going to be Northwoods-inspired railroad. I think that kind of fits what we're doing here well. And my eventual goal has been that way for 10 years is Wisconsin Central in Wisconsin, from maybe Fond du Lac to Plainville, kind of the area I grew up in, and just do a main line, but that's going to be a big layout. So this container is going to have it's a 30-foot section on both sides. It's not going to be double deck or anything because I have a lot of storage to put underneath and above in it. But eventually you could expand with more containers and have that big layout. But what I want to focus on with this here is a branch line of the Wisconsin Central in the Northwoods. So just an average, an overview of everything you'd see up north Wisconsin as a branch line, and just kind of condense it and just really get that feel in this layout. And then eventually this can be part of the big layout, but the smaller part, it'll be just this little short branch line that you run out of Wausau or something like that, or Stevens Point. But that's the cool thing with the container idea, is you can expand it unlimitedly. So if I want, I can just cut a big square in this wall as a walkway on the end of all these containers and just have this thing snake around, and maybe in the main line area have 2-3 decks, stuff like that, more staging and helixes. And but this is going to be a single deck layout and just a really good view of what it's like up there. It'll just give you that feel, and it'll feel like you're there. So anyway, thank you guys for watching, and I appreciate anybody who's stuck around since the Shoal 4 days, a long time ago. But we're moving on to some different things, and it should be a pretty cool project. If you feel like subscribing, please do, and thank you for watching Northwoods-inspired. We'll see you next time.